If you're in healthcare, probably this podcast is gonna be very relevant for you. So wish you a very happy new year 2025. This is the first podcast that I'm recording, and the good part is this recording has started with one of the Gen expert in our team. And I would like to welcome Ayush Goel for this podcast. And at the same time, we are going to talk about so many interesting things. So, just in case if you don't know me, my name is Anil, working with US healthcare business and 17 plus years in the industry. I come from a engineering background and learning a lot with AI, machine learning, and their usage. That's where I'm recording this podcast. This is going to help you if you're watching it. Then maybe some of your questions which get auto resolved after you watch this completely. So, without much delay, welcome Ayush for this podcast. And we are going to talk about some of the interesting facts today. But before that, do you want to introduce yourself and then we get started?
Sure, Anil. First of all, happy New Year, everyone, and happy New Year, Anil. And thanks for this podcast for giving us this opportunity so that we can discuss on the some of the cutting edge technologies. And I know that the viewers are having a lot of questions around this, and I'm sure most of them would get resolved after we are done shooting this podcast. And coming back to me, so I have more than 11 years of experience now in the industry. I have been coming from a domain of data science, AI, and now from the past couple of years, I've been deeply involved into generative AI based solutions. So this has been an era of like which has completely changed their lives.
Right.
So pre-COVID, so I call this as like a demarcation. Pre-COVID era versus the post-COVID era. In post-COVID era, things have changed completely. I remember when 2022, when ChatGPT arrived.
Yeah.
So and I don't remember a single day through that innovation which has been a like talk of the town from that date.
So this fastest adopting adaptation of any application of any technology, I would say, is Gen AI.
Is generative AI. So in just a couple of years, everybody has started talking about generative AI. Everybody wants to do generative AI. Be it a leader, he wants to adopt it. If it's a coder or a programmer or a junior developer, he wants to leverage generative AI into solving his problems.
Right.
Everybody is using this generative AI to solve his level of problems.
Exactly. And this is so commonly available, right? To Chat GPT interface or this OpenAI has made this so much easier for everyone to have access for utilizing this for multiple purposes, and that's the reason I think everyone can get a hand on top of this stuff technology, right? And that's where it is viral from the day it has just made being made live.
Absolutely. So people no need to pay any cost upfront. They just go on internet. They can simply open AI. They can start asking questions. They can simply start using generative AI. This is for the common people, by the way.
Right.
If you are a developer, let's say if somebody is a developer, he's not into somebody who is just looking to have his question answered through chat GPT interface. He can simply do a few API calls and he's just good at it.
Yeah.
He just
So, so while there are like always boom of any technology, there are curses as well, right? So when we are talking about Gen AI and specifically, and we are going through a lot of struggles when we need to identify a talent, right? So like how do we do this? Like that's our different day podcast. But yeah, these days interviewees are mostly engaged with these platforms and get wanted to give their 100%. So you are one of the if you are one of the candidate and watching this video and utilizing Gen AI, please don't do this because we catch it while we ask you questions differently, and this gives negative impression because when you're talking fluently and suddenly you change the question and you have to type or you have to take that co-pilot help, it is not gonna help you during the interview and obviously not at the job certainly.
Absolutely. So, Anil, these are a bit, few of the, or I would call one of the few unethical uses of the generative AI.
Yeah.
It is easily catchable. We are able to catch it very easily. So, rather than what I would advise is, if you want to use this technology, use it for your learning purpose.
Right.
Like, let's call it pre-interview phase.
Right.
Use this technology to learn. Use the kind of question that your interview is going to ask you. Prepare those answers, read about the subject, so this will help you. So rather than using it during your interview process, which is of course an unethical use of this technology, rather use it pre-interview phase.
Right. So now let's make this podcast little bit more interesting for enterprises, right? I know that I just traveled to US and I live in Frisco area. So we thought of meeting, and we have been brainstorming for about the idea of having a podcast on just for educational perspective. And the idea of this podcast is more for organizations and decision makers to learn, right, what are the different ways big organizations are running their AI program and how they are getting value out of it. Last year, if I say 2023 is more about people were just making themselves aware about a Gen AI, right? And 2024, where some of bold movers started experimenting with Gen AI. So they have done the foundational layer. 2025 is the year when they will escape, right? So those who are still seeing that it is happening and not part of this, right? Probably they are going to miss the bus, right? So this is all about how the big organizations are taking the move ahead and how some of the companies, some of the competitors are influencing the business. So if you're in healthcare, probably this podcast is gonna be very relevant for you. So I just help me understand, right? When people talk about Gen AI or generative AI and then they compare it with agentic AI, right? So first of all, how do you perceive it, right? Because it looks very overlapping when I talk to my clients.
So Anil, when you said that these are lapping technologies, you are right to some extent, but they are completely different in a way. So let me give you examples. Let me explain what is generative AI, what is agentic AI, and probably that would help understand if they are overlapping, or probably it would help us understand like what are the areas in which they overlap and what are the areas in which they are completely different.
Yeah.
So generative AI is a technology which is used to generate the new content. So for example, if you want to generate some new text, some new images, some new audio, then generative AI is definitely your answer. For example, if you are a junior developer, you're coding, the people can use it to generate the codes. Then if you are a marketing company, if you're a media company, you can use it to generate the new content, because media and marketing agency is all about generation of new content.
Yeah.
If you are healthcare, you can generate different kind of emails, different kind of contracts. So that is generative AI. Now when coming to the agentic AI, I would call that agentic AI is leveraging LLMs, which actually like ushered into the era of generative AI. But agentic AI in that way is completely different. The only overlapping part is the LLMs. That agentic AI systems are using LLMs to make those decisions. Agentic AI is all about decision making.
Mhm.
So now, take an example of we all are.
So if I just like double click or further explain on top of it, right? So Gen AI is more about content generation, as its name suggests, right? And then the agentic AI is altogether a different animal, though it's basis on the same underlying infrastructure, right? So LLM or whatever the CPU or GPU gets utilized as part of standing those infrastructure. Now, when you're talking about agentic AI, right? So so help me understand some of the utilization, right? You mentioned about code generation, right? Help me understand maybe some similarities between Gen AI and agentic AI, and then some of the different use cases that can be solved through Gen AI only or through agentic AI.
Absolutely, Anik. So let me try to help you understand what how agentic AI works. Probably that would help you to decide better if the use case is of agentic AI or not. So any LLM is able to reason. So that's where the LLM agents come into picture. They have basically access to four components: the tools, the reasoning, or we plan as we call it the planning, and the reflection. And the last thing is memory. So, what is a tool? So, let's take an example. We all are iPhone users. Let's Siri. We are all very much used to Siri. We just say, "Hey Siri, do me this. Hey Siri, do this for me." Now that's an agentic system. Now Siri is taking the command, he is making those decisions for you, he's now accessing the external tools. For example, let's say you ask Siri, Siri, please call my brother. Then he is making that decision, should I need to make a call or not? Then if he is, then he has the access to your external phone app. So that's a tool for it. Now, after you are done with calling your brother, after so you can just simply go back, just have that text to previous number. Then he knows it's a memory. He knows that you made the call to your brother. Then simply the planet is, and then
So Siri has been there for years, right?
right.
And you're saying that agentic AI is nothing, just a application like Siri. So what is new here, right? Just wanted to compare both of these. What agentic AI gonna further be enhancing on Siri?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the advent of the LLMs, the agents have got more smarter. Like the more they are accessible to more power now. So if you think of it, the decision making systems, who is a decision maker here? The LLM. And if the LLMs can get smarter, your decision making process is even getting smarter.
Mhm.
Now, with the smarter decisions, you can play things around. You can do even more things at a with more better accuracy. So that's where the Siri has improved. So the backend model must have changed. Now, as you must have heard, people are saying that the compute is growing, the platforms are growing. With that, there are billions of parameters, the models with the billions of parameters that are coming in. And when the parameters increases, definitely the reasoning power increases. For example, OpenAI just releases O3 model, which has crossed every benchmark. Even O4 was not able to cross that benchmark, but O3 has just remarkably crossed every benchmark. And so that's why O3 is being we compared to humans, the human intelligence. So that's one point.
Okay.
So, and another part is the tools.
Mhm.
With the more and more technology, there have been creation of more tools. And since the companies are starting realizing its potential, they know that they need to develop those frameworks where people can actually start developing agents.
Yeah.
For example, the OpenAI, the Crew AI, Llama Index, LangChain, they all are just giving frameworks so that people can start making those agents without any difficulties.
Mhm.
So this is how this era has completely changed the landscape
So
from.
you're saying Siri has been there, and are there more points that you want to cover?
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
So now coming to your question that like Siri was available, like it was always available. Then what has improved? So earlier back in days of, let's say, as I mentioned, the pre-COVID era. So these system used to be deterministic.
Mhm.
For example, if you say Siri call my brother, then Siri would have pre-programmed to know whenever somebody says call, then this is what you need to do. But nowadays this deterministic model has been replaced by the probabilistic models, where Siri would be able to detect the intent behind it automatically. It has not been programmed to identify the word call.
Mhm.
It has been programmed to identify the action the user intends to do.
Mhm.
For example, the call is an action here.
Yeah, they both want to connect, and maybe are you saying the future gonna look like if the call is not happening, Siri will automatically be trying the WhatsApp call or maybe sending a message,
Absolutely.
right?
So,
Something like that.
and when so this is even possible today. So when you said that Siri would be if the call is not happening, maybe some XYZ reason, then Siri would be doing the WhatsApp call. Now this is happening. So when you say the phone app,
Yeah.
the WhatsApp, your Skype,
Yeah.
your other, let's say, Facebook Messenger or Instagram calling. So these are all the tools available with the LLM agent, which is Siri in that case. He is definitely going to try it. You remember I talked about reflection and planning.
Yeah.
So Siri.
So maybe for this viewers, if you just talk about what is your mantra or what is your understanding about agentic AI and how these four different stages works.
Okay, so for example, I'll continue with this example only. So let's say you ask Siri to call your brother.
Mhm.
Siri will try to call him on phone because these are the tools available with him.
Mhm.
The phone, the Instagram, the WhatsApp, etc. All are the tools. Siri would go try to call your brother through the phone app.
Mhm.
Now, if he is not able to do so, he'll start reflecting on his own actions. So this while trying to do this through phone app, it got failed. Now it will autocorrect itself. It will go to WhatsApp. Again, if it's not successful, it will again autocorrect and it will make those attempts with all the tools available, with all the apps in that case, and
Right.
to keep on doing until it is successful. Now, I'm not saying that this is happening today. This is happening right now, but future is not very far away when this would be
So
happening.
just help me understand, just moving a little faster. So when you see that you talked about Gen AI implementation, right? Agentic AI is talk of the town. Everyone is saying, Mr. Nadella mentioned like SaaS is going away with the agents on ground, right? Software engineering will be in trouble. People will be able to create application much faster than ever before. So where do you see that the top five or top three usage of agentic AI?
Okay. So, Anil, first of all, as you mentioned that everybody's saying that the jobs are in danger. People, it can may replace humans. No, that's not the case. So, agentic AI systems or the generative AI is here to help humans. They are not here to replace humans.
Mm.
So definitely the people would be more smarter. They would be easy. They would be more productive with the use and everything with the autonomous system, with the generative AI. But it's not going to replace them.
So one common thing that I've been searching right over the internet, people are saying AI won't take your job, but a person knowing AI will take your job.
Absolutely, that's the case.
Yeah.
Because if you don't change or upgrade yourselves with time, definitely it's going to replace you.
Yeah.
So that's so as you have heard that it's a full circle.
Yeah.
So we know that change is constant.
Right.
It is the things are moving, things are changing very fast. So and with the things changing, with the era changing, with the technology changing, you need to keep upgrading yourself. The healthcare industry or the banking industry, the financial industry has a lot of use cases where agentic AI systems can be used. For example, or the IT industry. For example, right now IT industry is going through a very manual process. For example, let's say there is some support system, support teams who are doing things very manually. They can use this technology, for example, automated log processing. One agent is there who is taking the log, then processing it. Other is checking it for the errors. The third agent is implementing the solution to the errors, and fourth is doing that email. Now, think of it, for example, healthcare industry where the prior authorization has been like the I would call it the headache for the people because it used to take a lot of time. But with this agentic system, the prior authorization can be done like in just minutes. For example, one agent who is just processing the request, another agent is finding some cardiac arrest. Then there is another. For example, okay, like let me take it this way. It will be more enlightening. So we call like why do we need agents? Why do we need agents? So we call the for every task there should be one specialized agent.
Okay.
Now take this example. You have a couple of tasks to do. For example, let's say in prior auth, you need to find out what are the medications being taken by the patient. What are the diseases that the person is suffering from. Then there can be one specific agent who is just checking for the medication, another agent who is checking just for the cardiac disease, another agent who is just checking for the maybe some liver disease. So that is one of the use cases. Another use case can be into the autonomous driving where the self-driving cars have arrived. So your car, your system, your agents are making decision basis on the road conditions, basing on your traffic conditions, and then there are different agents which are working in harmony and then making those decisions.
Right. You were talking about some orchestration agent, right, which takes control over multiple smaller agent. And I personally see a lot of changes in happening in the RP industry where the like RPA bots replaced human repetitive task, and then most of the time like they are the problem for the organization because troubleshooting, debugging, and monitoring of them becomes a little bit difficult. But with agentic process automation, it is replacing RPA and IP completely much faster than ever before. So, things that you could do it in, let's say, months or weeks, now you should be able to do it in days with the help of agentic AI automation, right? So, I personally observing some of these things, and while we are recording this video, right? Uh, I think Ayush and I, we both have been working in multiple implementations
Absolutely.
where we have seen how the lags are evolved, how the lags are going through multiple complexities. Right now, industry is talking about agentic AI. Tomorrow, the future could be different. and they may be much more advanced thing. I think the idea of having Ayush share and have this conversation going is just to give you awareness, because the natural progression of for any organization to adopt Gen AI, it starts from awareness. Then the next step is POCs and doing some smaller proof of concept to make sure that your organization is aligned to this technology. I'm sure it is. You should be bold enough to take decision. And third is making that maturity up to RAG or agentic, and finally creating a domain model so that none of the hyperscalers gonna do it for your industry. Right? You have to do it for your own organization, and that is how you can create value for your organization with the data that is available, that is your IP. So just in case if you want to know more about from Ayush and from me, happy to connect with you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, and we are happy to keep continuing this awareness session series.
Absolutely. Looking forward to connecting with people who are here to learn, who are here to implement change. And we just want to be the part of this change.
Sure.
So, and
So
thank you
that,
so much, Anil,
thank you.
for inviting for this series.